All right.
Yeah.
Do you want to do your clappity clap, Batman, just because you can?
Okay.
That was the weakest clap ever.
Yeah.
That was
That's how I feel
shamefully
today.
weak, Ali. How?
That
wow.
was pretty bad. Actually, it'd be pretty useful for you and Andy to try to sync a clap. I think it would make it easier to get the audio aligned.
All right. You ready, Ali?
Like if you visually go and like you try to do it at the
Do
same
you want me to
time.
do a proper clap or do a crop bucket, man?
Yeah, but just so if you... Right, wait. I'll count you in. 3, 2, 1, go.
No.
But that's fine. At least it gives a reference
I think that
point.
was
Horrible.
fine.
Yeah, that's fine. And we give it a reference point, so at least straight on editing, we can go, oh, there's a spike on Andy's there and on ours there. And then we need to move it half a second. It doesn't matter.
Stitching and
All right.
sewing.
Stitching up the snitches.
Yes. I thought I had a joke. To start this. Oh, I remember now. I don't know if you... Alex,
Yes.
would you rather eat a baby goat or a matter baby?
Oh, what?
Would you rather eat a baby goat or a matter baby?
What the fuck is a matter, baby?
Nothing, sugar. What's the
Oh
matter
my
with you?
God, you are the fucking... You are a dad. It is... That is just proving it beyond belief right there.
Actually, I'll have you know that is a TikTok joke, and I love it.
Are we hanging up now?
There are some
You brought
boomers
up
on
TikTok.
TikTok, alright?
Can I go home now?
Fucking hell.
Oh god, I thought it was a good joke. It's the first time I get to do it in English because otherwise, Dutch. All right.
Otherwise, you do it in your crazy language that no one understands.
Yes, flippen. All right.
Yes.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the At Random podcast. I am your host of this evening, day, night, depending when you listen, the time zone, Andy. And today I'm joined by the very lovely Alejandra, a.k.a. Batman.
Hello.
Hello. How are you doing? You're not doing too well, are you?
I'm tired today.
Oh, that's good. That's good. A little tired, Ali. It's not the best episode to be tired on. We're joined as well by our lovely Alex, the man of all mans.
Yep, that's me. I'm him.
How you doing, buddy?
Incredibly tired, but it was self-inflicted, so whatever. I'll be good. I'm ready now. I had a coffee like an hour ago, so now it's like the caffeine's just keeping me alert.
Ooh.
But I need to remember that now that I'm getting older, drinking 2 nights in a row,
It gets to you.
it takes its toll.
I
don't sleep
I
properly
had an
anymore.
old fart moment with coffee like 2 days ago. I drank 3 cups of coffee and I was shaking. Like literally, my hands could not stay still.
Yep.
I was like,
It happens to me sometimes at school if I drink too much in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
If I have like 3 cups before lunch, like my heart's just like boom, 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 boom. I'm like, whoa, fucking hell.
who
I
needs
feel like I want to like
Monster?
run a race or something.
Monster, don't drink that shit.
We'll drink
It's
it a
so
little
bad
bit.
for you. No, don't do it.
Yeah, all right. So this week's episode is it's sort of, I don't know. I thought about it and I think it sort of represents who I am in the show, sort of, quote unquote. I don't know. It's about weird shit. I love weird shit. Like last episode, we talked about when we talked about the manga and the animes and the cartoons and shit like that. And I brought up, serial killers. Well, that's one of my passions. Another passion of mine is anything just weird, out of the ordinary, spooky, creepy, just fucking weird shit. So I thought, as a very good introduction to who I am, every 3rd episode is my episode, so I thought that my episodes might be about that a little bit more. And today we're
God
covering...
help us all.
Excuse me?
God help us all.
No, it's cool. It's cool. It's all gonna be cool. It's gonna be fun. I'm not gonna lose my shit whatsoever. Today's gonna be about the zombie apocalypse.
That sounds pretty fun.
It most definitely is not.
Yay.
Well, but it's relevant because right now, as we're recording this, is sort of when the coronavirus is breaking out. So, like, this could actually be useful information.
I don't know if
it spreads and becomes like a pandemic.
Well, I don't know if the coronavirus has anything zombie-like, but that's one of the things we're going to discuss. We're going to discuss today. Pathogens and viruses not only have the tendency to wreak fucking havoc on your immune system, they do have the ability to evolve as well, and that's sort of, without giving too much away, that's where the danger lies, I guess. We're gonna cover if it could be real in some form or way, and the best way to survive if a zombie outbreak happens. A little bit of facts, a little bit of I don't know, general helping
imagination.
Tips. Yeah. Basically, like anything epic, it is a theory. Anything that will be told here today has been theorized. There's no like reality so far, but you know
that we're aware of.
Yeah, they used to believe the Earth was flat at one point. Well, they actually still do. Some people, some dumbasses still do.
If you believe that, just stop listening to this podcast, please.
Yes, thank you. Bye. Good to know you.
Or just keep listening. Give us the listens.
Yeah.
We don't care.
I'm gonna do a
share this
flat
podcast
Earth
in your little
episode.
community.
I'm gonna do a flat Earth episode sooner or later. It's bound to happen.
Please, no.
I'll just go on a rant for 45 minutes.
But yeah, just let's start with the absolute basics. Could a zombie apocalypse happen in your mind? Could it happen, Alex? And could it happen, Ali?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to say yes, but probably not in the way like in the films where they're just like rabid, mindless, undead beasts.
All right.
Like, I think it will just be more of like a psychological mutation where maybe, I guess, more like a rabies thing, but I don't think it's going to be quite to the level like you're like literally dead and then come back to life and then start craving flesh.
All right. Yeah.
It's probably more just like a parasite that's like fucking you up in the head and makes you a cannibal or something.
Well, that's
absolutely
very odd that you said parasite, because that's actually the first one that we're going to cover.
There we go.
Yeah, parasites that turn victims into mindless zombies or zombie-like slaves. Now, oddly enough, believe it or not, they are very common in nature. There's one called, and hold on to your hats here, people, because I'm going to try and read that, Toxoplasmosa gondii, and that seems to devote its entire existence to being utterly fucking terrifying. Now, this bug, it infects rats, but can only breathe inside the intestines of a cat. Now, yeah, oddly enough, the nature of a cat isn't that far from what we have. So you're already a very close step. Like, you can say, like, the anatomy of a cat is very different. You know, lungs, heart, stomach, intestines, pretty basic.
Yeah.
Pretty basically the same thing. Now, so these critters can only live or breathe inside the intestines of a cat. The parasite knows it needs to get the rat inside the cat. So the parasite takes over the rat's brain and intentionally makes it scurry towards where cats hang out. The rat is being programmed to get itself eaten, and it doesn't even know it. Now, of course, those are just rats, you know. How you might ask yourself how it can result in zombies. Well, half the human population on Earth is infected with toxoplasmosa, and they don't know it. They've done studies and shown that the infected see a change in their personality and have a higher chance of going batshit So,
Is that what happened to you?
no,
Have you been
actually,
diagnosed?
what I have is basically spending too much online. It's
that'll
just
do a lot to a person.
losing your shit amongst all the shit you read and trying to make out what's right and what's wrong, because it's very difficult. I'm always looking for the truth, and it's very hard to find in an overpopulated, I guess, internet where everything seems to be true to some sort of form of people.
And you only get polar opposite opinions and probably none of the real fact that's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. So they're not there. These parasites are not there yet. But one could claim that they might be, weaponized at one point. Since so much of the population already has them, it's only one step away for a government to step in and sort of, weaponize a bug like that.
You know that the Chinese and Russians are working on this.
Oh, yeah.
They are making this shit.
Oh, I'm pretty sure, as far as I know, from everything that I know and from governments and whatever I read online and shit like that, if we knew what diseases and shit were being made right now and what kind of toxins were being made right now, we would lose our shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind that they have so much shit that if they wanted to, they can just release it.
Yeah.
But they're waiting for the right moment.
It's like with nukes. It's like if everyone has them and the damage you can do, but no one wants to use them. So it's kind of like my dick's bigger than yours sort of battle, but no one wants to show the dick because that would be gay, right?
True.
So it's sort of that type of battle.
Yeah.
It's like, we have them too, and you have them, so let's just agree not to use them, but we'll still have them in case you do use them, and then we can fight back with it.
True.
I need to I need to stop. I need to blow my nose. I'm really sorry. My nose is running.
Go for it.
Yeah, we're not editing this out.
I'm staying in.
We're just keeping it in.
Just blow, Ali. We'll cut it out. No worries.
She can blow something else.
Keep it in, Alex. Oh, man, that sounds disgusting. Ugh. You live with that every day?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, man.
I know, right?
Must be tough.
Sometimes maybe getting one of these parasites could be more useful.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck, what were we saying? Oh, yeah, I was just going about their big dick battle and being gay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, really sorry.
No problem.
Now, do you have something to say onto it, Batman, so we can edit it so it sounds like it's a continuous conversation?
Oh, what? Big dicks.
No.
Yeah, talk about big dicks for a second.
Right, so, yeah.
So you have anything to add to that, Alex?
I mean, my only sort of real thought here is this. The second you said parasites, I just thought of Resident Evil 4.
Okay.
The video game. And I assumed your research was you were just sitting there being nostalgic, playing Resident Evil 4, and you were just like, zombie episode, viruses, parasites, has to happen.
Yeah, well,
and that's
I've looked in anything that already was a thing in nature. That's basically what I did. Looking in what's already happening, because I think the main thing that we'll learn from this is that if there is ever a zombie plague, that it's 9 chances out of 10 it will happen because of either weaponizing, human manipulation, or just an evolution jump. If you don't believe in evolution, just look back 10 years. When the common cold lasted, 5 days? Now when you have the common cold, it's usually lasting 14 days. Like this, the diseases, they fight off.
It's mutating all the time.
Yeah, it's mutating.
That's our own fault. To be honest with you, we can do an entire episode about just that alone when it comes to the misuse of antibiotics and all that other shit. That on itself is an episode.
Yeah.
We're fucked. Within the coming 20 years, we're fucked for real.
Oh, yeah. But there's one major protest that I have towards the Parasite. And that is that you are not actually a zombie. To be a zombie, you should be a living dead. I do count it in, however, because it leads to one person being manipulated to kill another person against his will.
Yeah.
All right. So that's why I went with that one as the first one. Next one.
But just a quick question. The definition that we're going in as a zombie is a living dead. Undead, I mean.
Well, zombie-esque. I would say a mindless creature that has the form of a human and wants to bite you. That's what I consider a zombie to broaden, because I wanted to have at least 5 different ways that it could happen, not necessarily dead. There's been reports out there of people dying and coming back to life, but they weren't that interested in feeding or whatever. So I don't think that being dead would be, a
requirement to be a zombie.
Yeah. Although that the definition of a zombie,
least likely.
Yeah, I think these are the things that come closest to it. All right, next up, neurotoxins. Yeah, they are certain kind of poisons to slow your bodily functions to the point you'll be considered dead, even to a doctor. It has to be said, maybe not a good doctor, but still. The poison from fugu, the Japanese blowfish, can do this. The victims can be brought back under the effects of a drug like datura stramonium, other chemicals called alkaloids, that leave them in a trance-like state with no memory, but are still able to perform simple tasks like eating, sleeping, moaning, shambling around with their arms outstretched and such shit. Again, as I said with the Parasite, if this were weaponized, so there's that extra requirement. Now, there has been a story of Clervius Narcissus. He was a Haitian guy who was declared dead by doctors and buried in 1962. They found him wandering around the village 18 years later. It turned out the local voodoo priest had been using naturally occurring chemicals to basically zombify people and putting them to work on sugar plantations.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so zombification is an actual thing that has been used as a sort of, means to make slave. Yeah. So, next time you're pouring your little packet of sugar into your coffee, remember that they may have been handed by a zombie at one point. So don't drink coffee,
zombie
people.
Slave.
Yeah.
Humans really are creative creatures.
Yeah, true. I rank this one a little bit higher, purely based on the fact that it's already been done. It's already been used on humans and it's been found effective. Now, if you tweak whatever the toxin is to your advantage to make somebody, let's say, just fucking rabid and just wants to bite people, make it into a gas, pour it on the people you want to destroy, and they'll fucking bite each other's throats out.
It's
no
basically
problem.
like mixing neurotoxins and rabies together into a gas. And just like put it in the sewer system, like vent into everyone's homes.
Yeah, exactly. Now, another virus that I thought was interesting to look at was as a rage virus. Now, the idea that sparked that was the I think it was California bath salt incident where a homeless guy attacked another guy, or a homeless guy was attacked, bite his face off. Police came up to the guy that was biting the other guy. They shot him a couple of times in the chest, and the guy did not fucking move. He didn't feel the bullets go in or anything. It was only because of a shot in the head that he went down, and that was it.
Yeah. So wasn't it proven that he actually wasn't on bath salts?
I think it was bath salts. Yeah, I don't know.
No, but I remember when this story came out. Like, I remember the craze like that I had, and everyone was like in hysteria about these bath salts. But I don't know. I remember seeing this not long ago. I need to double down on this and make sure. But I'm pretty sure that they didn't find anything in his system.
Oh, wow.
Like the guy that they shot. Yeah. Fuck, where did I see that? It was in
Miami. So it was in
Miami, yeah, Florida.
Well, he must have been
Florida.
on something, because I think he took like 3 to 5 bullets in the chest before going down with a bullet to the head.
No, I'm pretty sure there were more. There were more bullets. They shot more bullets.
Well, anyway.
I'll get back to this another
I'm having a quick look, but
yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Well, I remember this incident, the Battle incident, because it really
I think it's fairly
scared the shit out of people.
Yeah, it's fairly known right now. So the idea that was when I started looking into the actual rage virus, like in 28 Days Later. Now, in the movie, it was a virus that turned human beings into mindless killing machines. In real life, we have a series of brain disorders that do the same thing. They were never contagious, of course. Then mad cow disease came along. It attacks the cow's spinal cord and brain, turning it into a stumbling, mindless attack cow. Now, how can this result into zombies? Now, when mad cow gets in humans, they call it Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. The symptoms of this are changes in walking, hallucinations, lack of coordination, for example, stumbling or falling, which indicates zombie-like behavior, muscle twitching, jerks or seizures, and rapidly developing delirium or dementia. Now, sure, the disease is rare, though maybe not as rare as we think. And the afflicted aren't known to chase after people in murderous mob yet, but it proves widespread brain infection of the rage variety are just a matter of waiting for the right disease to come along. As we said before, diseases tend to change and, stuff like that. So, I would rate this one a little bit higher up there, for, again, there has been examples of it in our human behavior. The number 2 on the list was neurogenesis. Now, this can be seen in laboratories around the world. As we said before, if you'd known what happens in laboratories, you'd be scared shitless. It's a good thing we've been keeping, a little bit on the down low as far as pathogens and shit goes. Now, we all know the controversy out there about stem cell research. Well, the whole thing with stem cells is that they can basically be used to regenerate dead cells, particularly of interest to zombieologists, like, as are we right now. The method by which they can regrow dead brain tissue. You can obviously see where this is going. You want that the undead to make an appearance in this article, in this podcast. Well, here you go. Science can pretty much save you from anything but brain dead. They can swap out organs, but when the brain turns to mush, you're gone. Not for long anymore. Unfortunately, they already are able to regrow the brains of comatose head trauma patients until they wake up and walk around again. They're testing this as we speak.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's a good application of that technology. I don't know, you're in a car accident, you're 20 years old, you got severe brain injuries. All right, let's
dementia is
try to save this person and give them at least a hope so they're not a vegetable.
Yeah. But how do we know that this person is going to be the same person if you're basically regrowing their...
That's why they're doing clinical trials.
That's what we're doing with the trials now. So if people volunteer to basically put their brains on the line, they're like, we'll come with us anyway, so do with it what you will.
Well, they don't.
Imagine this technology in the future with all the stoners that have fried their brains in high school from smoking too much weed and just doing too many synthetic drugs.
Yeah, imagine Ozzy Osbourne just saying, "Hey, Sharon," instead of going like, "Sharon."
Yeah, you mean I can actually understand him. You're like, holy fuck. We fixed him. That'd be the day his heart just explodes or something instead, though.
Yeah. Now, if you couple that with the new ability to keep a dead body in a state of suspended animation, so it can be brought back to life later, and soon we'll be able to bring back the dead, as long as we get to them quickly enough. I guess that would be the only...
See, I actually think the biggest application of this, though, is like when we need to send people to like deep space missions.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, how do you put them into stasis for like basically put them in a coma for like 7 months and then wake them out of it?
But I think
and
I
go
think
into like a hostile environment like Mars.
I think
and
in
you need
that
to, like,
case you wouldn't
them.
allow the person to die. Instead, keep them in a flash frozen.
Yeah, exactly. But there could still be a risk that something happens. So if we have this great stem cell technologies that like regens, so I think that would be really useful for shit like that. I actually think that's why they're looking at these technologies. It's not so much for like Earth applications or to make zombie people, but that would be, I mean, be kind of cool, but cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, there is a lab dedicated to reanimation research. It explains
Please tell me they're called the Necromancer Research Institution.
It explains how the process of reanimating a person creates a problem. It causes the brain to die off from the inside in. The outside being the cortex, the nice part that makes humans human, I guess. That just leaves the part that controls basic motor function and primitive instincts behind. You don't need a cortex to survive. All you need is the stem, and you'll still be able to mindlessly walk and eat and enjoy Grey's Anatomy or whatever you enjoy.
We should definitely kill those people that like Grey's Anatomy.
If you've ever heard stories about... if you ever heard... but shut the fuck up about Grey's Anatomy. That is a great fucking show. I don't want to hear anything
terrible
about
show.
it. That's fuck you.
It's trash. Hot trash.
For any of my Grey's Anatomy watchers out there, 007, baby. Hearts and minds, people. Now, anyway, going on with this, if you've ever wondered why chickens can keep walking around after their head been chopped off, that's basically it. That's, that chicken living without its cortex. There's been cases where chickens live headlessly for like 18 months. So that's the longest.
18 months?
18 months, yeah. There was one chicken that lived for 18 months.
I have to Google this.
Yep. So you take a brain-dead patient, use these techniques to regrow the brain stems, and you now have a mindless body shambling around, no thoughts and no personality, nothing but a cloud of base instincts and impulses.
Yep, he's also right. 18 months.
Yep,
Mike the Headless Chicken, 1945 to 1947.
Yes, I was not
Jesus Christ.
fucking around.
I mean, it just didn't sound believable.
I know, it didn't sound believable, but it's the cortex was chopped off and the rest just remained, and all it did, like, the personality of the chicken probably wasn't in the body as much anymore, but it did walk around. It just
probably didn't have a personality.
Yeah.
How did it eat?
Probably, I've seen funnel. They put a funnel in the neck and then just chuck in the food.
Jesus Christ. Fucking hell.
What are you gonna do? You can't reattach the head.
I mean, you just kill it and eat it. It's already, like, at that point, dead.
But it's not. It's not dead. It kept
Mike.
walking
made
around.
Him some tasty KFC, like, fried him with some original recipe batter. And...
Hey, listen, I'd be the first to kick it until it's fucking dead, because I'd feel sorry for the little creature. But, like, that was a situation
So
they
you
felt
would
bad
kick
afterward.
it to death?
And the chicken didn't want to fucking die, so they kept feeding it.
Yeah, fair call.
Well, moving on to the very last one, because I got some questions for you guys. All right. Nanobots. Nanobots will probably be responsible for the death of all of us.
Now we're talking.
Yeah. One scenario, of course, where this could be happen. Now, basically, nanobots, they're technology that science apparently engineered to make you terrified of the future, I guess. I don't know. We're talking about like microscopic, self-replicating robots that can like invisibly build or destroy anything. Like vast sums of money are being poured right now into nanotechnology. Basically, if you have nanobots in your bloodstream, you could probably get away with cancer and shit like that as well. So it's definitely technology to look into.
Mm-hmm. It's like any technology in the sense. It's like it's good if you use it for something good, depending on who's controlling it and what they want to do with it.
Yeah, but there's
and
always
that's the future.
Assholes, right?
Yeah,
but wait, there is actually earlier this year, literally like 2 weeks ago, some researchers at a US university, I can't remember who it is, they actually made the first ever self-replicating, I think they're like organic nanomachine cells that are like single cell organisms, microorganisms that can actually replicate themselves.
Yeah.
And obviously the idea is this technology that eventually they will use this so that you need to like clean the plaque buildup out of your like arteries.
Yeah.
They inject you with this and the machines go in and they're designed and engineered to detect the plaque and basically like break it down and like help prevent diseases.
Yeah.
So like that is now actually literally a couple in January or end of December 2019 or January 2020, they announced that they've done it.
Well, it was nice knowing you guys because that's one way the world could end if one of the nanobots malfunctions and keeps replicating. So basically, what would happen is nanobots would stop replicating once there are enough nanobots to help the system that are trying to help. What if one malfunctions and it doesn't stop? Then the entire world... Because everything is made up of cells, and they basically take cells and transform them into other nanobots.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a cancer in a way.
Yeah,
they would just keep making more nanobots.
Basically what would happen is an alien spacecraft would land on a planet just filled with nanobots, just nothing else but nanobots, because everything is made up of cells. And they would touch down, and the moment their little UFO touches down, then their UFO becomes nanobots, and basically we will have destroyed the fucking universe. Because anything that touches us would be instantly turned into nanobots. Well, anyway, scientists have already created a nano cyborg by fusing a tiny silicone chip to a virus. The first thing they found out is that these cyborgs can still operate for up to a month after the death of the host. Notice how nanoscientists, when right for zombification, even this early stage, they know where the horror is. Now, according to studies, within a decade, they'll have nanobots that can crawl inside your brain and set up neural connections to replace damaged ones, aka get rid of dementia, which would be fucking great. The nanobots would basically be able to rewire your thoughts. So what could possibly go wrong?
So I'm thinking here, right? So you go and you visit your grandma, and so she goes from like not being able to know who the fuck you are, like shitting herself and all that, to basically wanting to eat your face because they cured her Alzheimer's and just made her into a zombie.
Yeah, it's basically.
So one day you turn up at the old folks' home and she's just like face deep in like the intestines.
Yeah.
Like neck deep in the intestines of her nurse that was looking after. You're like, Grandma, what the fuck are you doing? It's because those nanomachines just made her into a zombie.
But that's the interesting thing, though. So those nanobots will be programmed to keep functioning after you die. They can form their own neural pathways, meaning they can use your brain to keep operating your limbs after you're deceased, and presumably right up until you rot to pieces in the middle of the street. So there you would have the most pure form, like the most purest form of zombies as we know it from movies is nanobots. The nanobots will be programmed to self-replicate, and the death of the host will mean the end of the nanobot. to preserve themselves, they need to transfer to a new host. Therefore, the last act of the nanobot zombie would be to bite a hole in a healthy victim, letting the nanobots stream in and set up camp in a new host. So that's
and therefore, and they're not dying of starvation. It's just the timer will run out on the nanobots like 28 days after the death, so they have to like find the new host.
Yeah,
so there's only
basically that would be their goal, is their own survival at that point, and they would use our bodies to do that with.
And then they activate Skynet. Yes. And any remaining humans are just done.
Now, it should be more than clear by this point that our goal is to be responsible researchers as a podcast, right? Because we don't want to create cool, panic here. You know, all that we're saying is that on an actual day, on an actual calendar, in the actual future, runaway microscopic nanobots will end civilization by flooding the planet with cannibalistic undead. That's all we're saying. So,
yeah. Be scared, in other words.
Yeah.
No. Just make sure you're one of the first ones to die.
All right. Well,
the horror at least is short-lived.
Actually, nanobots would be a good thing for Ali. She'd fall less. She'd be less in the hospital.
Well, shut the fuck up.
I'm sorry.
No, man. I think for her, we just need like, what's the word? You know, like augmented limbs for her. Like, I just want to cut her arms and legs off and replace them with robotic limbs, like from Deus Ex or something. Like, give her, like, superpowers, and she's way more stable. She can't dislocate her knee anymore.
In the first week that happens, so I'm fine with that.
Fuck, imagine just getting a hand job from that bionic arm. Just fucking like, like, god damn, like, just going at it.
Jesus Christ.
2 seconds in, I came. Now, I have a
just
question.
Leave me alone, though. Like, I know I'm broken. We don't need to constantly remind me.
Should I tell him about my dream I had once?
Yeah, tell your dream.
Yeah, this is a sidetrack. It's nothing to do with zombies. But once I had a dream where Ali had no arms or legs, so I carried her around in a backpack like Luke Skywalker does with Yoda. And I was just like walking around with her. She was just a head and a body.
That's all you need.
I had this dream. So sometimes I just say to him, like, we better be careful. I'm going to turn you into a backpack.
Yeah.
It's actually all you need. To be fair, I mean,
to function.
You're real funny.
I can just paint you green because you have no arms to stop me, and then you basically dress you up like Yoda.
You see the shit I have to put up with?
Make you be like,
you know what?
You must.
I'm not even going to bother with this one. This week's Goodest Boy segment goes to Ali. I want everybody that listens to this show to tag us in something and say something nice about Ali. And upload your own pictures of your sexiest wink to her. There you go. That's the Goodest Boy segment of this week.
And anyway, try to find a good-looking backpack I can put in. If you have a really nice leather one, or I don't know, send them through.
So now that we've stated that there could be zombies, and that there is a way that there could be zombies. All right, how long? And this has been researched, by the way. I've figured out the numbers. How long do you think? If I'm a zombie and I bite somebody else and somebody bites, 2 people and then blah, 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 goes on. How long do you think the infection would take before the entire world is turned into a zombie? How long do you think that would
every take? Single last human, or just like the vast majority?
Every single last human. Given they do not put up a fight, everybody gets bitten, and so on, and so on, and so on. So it starts with me, then I bite somebody, then that person bites 2 people, then that person bites 4 people, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on.
Yep.
I think in a sense it would kind of be impossible to get everyone infected, just because obviously...
No, this is pure theory. So
pure theory.
Everybody gets bitten.
Okay. Well, a long time. A very long time.
No. Alex?
Are going to take like 72 hours. Let's say if you were theoretically everyone on Earth was just in one place, because it's an exponential, like...
Yes, yeah, it is.
The one person bites 2, and then the 2 makes 4, and then the 4 makes 8, or whatever, 8,
okay,
16.
So if you put it in that, like if everyone is in the same spot, but that's what I mean, it's like we humans are spread out quite vastly, so you're not going to buy the poor fucker that's on top of fucking Kebnekaise in a mountain by himself. But if you put it like that, it would go quite fast, yes.
Yeah, 38 days.
72 hours. 38 days.
It would take 38 days for 7 billion people to get infected.
All right, so we need to make the film 37 days later. Where we're like the last 5 people.
Like the
we're
remake.
Like a group of 5 people left. We're like, no, they're coming. And there's like literally 7 billion other zombies out there. And we try to survive just one more day to prove the theory correct.
Yeah. Well, I read up on a little book called The Zombie Survivor Guide. The actual book that was, I think it was very popular like 2 or 3 years ago. I read that book. And it did give 5. Some good pointers, because there's a lot of shit you don't think about. You got a lot of gamers that say, well, when the zombie apocalypse happens, I got a trusty knife and I got maybe a bow and some arrows. Like, I'm good to go. No, you're fucking not, baby. Because there's a couple of things that you need to be ready for. And these are questions that I'm going to ask you that I found interesting in the book that I think would help anybody's survival rate. Even like, and the weird thing is, there's even things in here in a war. Something if your town is invaded by someone or whatever. If any major catastrophe happens, what to do. This is based on the zombie apocalypse, so it's fictional, but like still. Now, I'm gonna ask the most obvious question first, and that is, which you think would be the best weapon of defense?
I would say like a meter long, like a 3 foot long, like steel pipe.
All right, so steel pipe.
Machete.
So like a blunt object where I can just club them, and something made out of metal so it's not going to break. Like not some shitty wrench in a video game that has like fixings and fittings and shit on it. Just like a literal meter length of steel pipe.
And your answer, Ali?
I don't know, something like that, or like a machete or something like.
Well, you're sort of dead right there. You see, there's people that come back with a spiked bat. Right, a spiked bat seems pretty obvious and easy to make, and you can make it. Now, ideally, given that is a good weapon to smack somebody across the head, but you gotta keep in account if you're bashing people's skulls in, so there's literally bone in their heads. If you would bash a guy on the head to the point where you puncture his brain with nails, the chances of you getting stuck are so fucking high. Yeah.
Yep.
Not only that, your bat is made of wood, which would, in time give way and wear and tear. Now, given there's a lot of baseball bats out there, you can remake them, but that takes time.
Yeah. And there are metal, aluminium bats as well.
How are you going to get the spikes?
But you cannot spike
destroying it.
And they also dent. Eventually, they will dent and crumble in because it's aluminium.
Now, there's other people that say, oh, the fucking Walking Dead, Michonne the katana. But it is refuted, the katana, because that is a weapon you actually need to know how to handle. There's actual videos out there that shows an inexperienced hand how bad a katana is.
It's like horrible. Like you need to know how to wield it to actually make some damage.
Maybe that's how you lose all your limbs. You went as an amateur and you tripped with a katana and just cut off all your limbs by accident. And then I had to put you in a backpack and carry you around and run from the zombies. Just like, let's go, Yoda.
Okay. Blunt trauma, as Alex said. I wouldn't go for that. I'll tell you why. If they're zombies like in The Walking Dead, for example, where they're rotten to the point where their bones are more fragile, given that their bones are more fragile, you could probably, bash in their brains. You'd have to use a lot of strength to bash somebody's brain in.
Mm-hmm.
Given that it's one zombie, you'd survive. Yes. Given that it's 5 or 10,
multiple,
you're fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Because your strength wears out. Now, the best weapon to probably use...
a trained ninja.
No, you're not.
Can we just continue without him? Like, can you just walk out the door right now, please? Bye.
Be quiet or I'll zip up the backpack so you can't speak.
All right. So the best weapon of defense would probably, for the everyday human being like you and me who don't have any combat techniques or anything like that, would be the machete. It's easy to handle. It's sharp as fuck. And the chances of it getting dull is pretty slim to none.
You can always sharpen it with a rock.
Probably
anyway, so
keep on chopping that shit until your heart's content. So the machete would be the best weapon in this scenario. And it's easy to find as well, because there's like stores where you get garden tools and shit like that. A machete is easy to make and it's easy to find. So yeah, machete. Go for the machete. All right. So the first steps in the zombie apocalypse. Actually, I'm gonna give Allie out of 10. I'm gonna give Allie a good 8 out of 10 for that. Alex, you went for blunt trauma. I guess you could probably survive a little bit. Let's go for a 6. There you go.
I remember like a few years ago. I don't know if I'd met you by then. I wanted to get a machete and have it under my bed.
It is.
My mom didn't like that when I said that to her. And she's like, you know.
And yes. People wonder why you scare me sometimes.
I don't know what you mean. I'm lovely.
Listen, you don't sound so scared when you're talking back to her and telling you're gonna put her in a backpack without arms and legs. So, I think you're fine, buddy. All right. Your first steps in a zombie apocalypse. Let's just say, huge fucking explosion. Everything goes kaboom. World War Z sort of shit. But the zombies are the slow walkers. They're not the fast walkers like in 28 days. You have some time to prepare. What's your first steps?
As in, what do we pack or what do we do?
Would you pack? What would you do?
I would pack at least some type of food, try to find whatever type of medicine I have, antibiotics if I have anything, bandages, like the first aid.
You would try to run?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would, based on where we live here, I would go straight to the pharmacy and just take everything I could fit, pretty much, like within reason, into my, like, especially antibiotics and like pain meds, and like the really strong ones, so I can sell them later on in a bartering sort of methodology with other humans who like drugs. Then I would go and get shitloads of water.
Okay.
Like,
where would you get the water?
From the supermarket.
So how would you carry that though?
I would take, like, you know how you get the ones that come in these like boxes with like 5 liters? I would rip out, like, open the cardboard and take like the sacks and put them in like some little fucking anything. Because water is far more important in the early days than food. Because you can only go like 3 or something days or a week without water, or you die.
Right.
And like, I can get food. If it works, I can kill an animal and eat it. Or like eat some berries and shit. But finding fresh, good water, difficult.
So, let's take your guys's situation. You live in an apartment building?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Let me just start out with saying, Allie, I'm gonna give you a 4 to survive here, and Alex, I'm gonna give you a. I'm being generous here. I'm gonna give you a 2.
He's a liar. He's biased.
No.
Everyone will go to the pharmacy if you go down there. That's where everyone is.
I'll explain to you why. I'll explain to you why and give you the solution to it later, to your problem. All right, so I'm going to start out with Alejandra. Alejandra, you picked to go out. Actually, that's the worst thing you could do, is go out, because it's pandemonium out there. People are running around. The chances of you getting hit by a car, coming across a zombie, are just so fucking high that it's probably not the smartest idea to go out. What you would want to do in your situation is turn off all your lights and barricade yourself inside for the first couple of days. Now that brings me to Alex, why you would want to barricade yourself. And you're living in an apartment building, right?
Yes.
You need to barricade that building off as quickly as possible. You need to plug up any and all sinks, bathtubs, whatever you have that can fill water, you need to fill with water. Because you're talking about drinkable water and you'd go out into the crowds to get it, which is the thing that everybody is doing, and everybody's going to be fighting for that water. So the chances of you getting hurt or killed even for a bottle of water are so fucking high that it's just not necessary for you to do that. You plug up every sink you have, you plug up your bathtub, you take buckets, whatever you have, and you fill them up straight from the drinkable water source that you have at home. This will get you through the first 3 to 4 weeks. This will give you time to work up a way to get out. What you want to do as a first step is give yourself more time to survive. That should be your first step. If you run, you get into a mob. The chances of you getting out, because like in the movies, it's a very realistic idea that everybody is trying to leave. But where are they gonna leave to? The world is gonna be infested by zombies. There's no place to fucking basically run. So why not stick to what you know and what you have and defend that area? For example, you might think that an apartment building would be a bad idea if you can block off the first floor and make your standpoint there, shut down the elevator so there's only one entrance to the building that you can use with all the people that live in there. You'd have backup. So you'd have that, you have all the people. You had several floors of water, which everybody could be using. And you'd have a pretty good defense system because there's only one way in and another way out, which is upstairs and through the fire escape. So that's why I'm rating your first steps that low. Alex, you look like you have something to say, buddy.
Well, to be fair, honestly, if there was a zombie apocalypse, I would just kill myself. Like, I don't give a fuck. Why
basically, your two just turned into a zero.
Absolutely no reason to struggle for another 3 days. Like, who gives a fuck? Just die. I just go off my balcony and jump like the dude in Game of Thrones, just straight out the window.
It's literally one floor. You're not going to do that much damage.
I'll just climb up in someone else's balcony. They're all old people here anyway. I just kill them and access their building and then jump off their balcony.
Well, actually, killing them might be a good idea. There's more water for you then. It's a horrible old people. It's a horrible
that's my
thing
first
to do, but
instinct.
It's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah, that's my first instinct, is obviously because people will turn on people when it comes down to that. And people, in my opinion, desperate people are more dangerous than whatever is potentially out there.
That's why I said it's so fucking dangerous to go and try and get water. Just use what you have at home. Yeah, but that's one thing that I found in the book that I thought was very interesting is that, before I read that book, I was like, I do the same thing. I try to get water for my family, but you have drinkable water at home. Why would you run? And it's probably
assuming that the water is still being pumped, though. Like, what if the outbreak was near the pumping station?
Even if nobody's working, you have 14 days. Electricity lasts 48 to 24 hours. Drinkable water would probably run for another 14 days. Unmanned, that is. Because they have safeguards. After a while, shit's just undrinkable.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, what do you think the best location? So you've managed to keep in there. You've survived the first couple of weeks. You've done well for yourself. You still got water enough, and you still got a little bit of food left in the building. So what do you think you would choose as a location to go to as a means to survive longer term?
Me personally, if let's say if I live here, I would try to get out as far north as possible. And
What's
given
north?
that
Why north?
why north is because there's less population further up north.
Okay.
There's a lot of woods, which means animals, berries, mushrooms, everything that you can eat.
Fresh mountain water from the snow and stuff.
Yeah. And then, yeah, less people mostly because, like, I have a friend that lives up north out in the forest, and, like, you can get lost out there. Like, you don't see people if you don't want to see people.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I would add to that, I would do something slightly different, but also if you go up there, like in northern Sweden, you have the native Sami people who... Indigenous people know a lot more about living on the land than most Western people, you know, that are just, I went to the supermarket and I buy food, whereas they know more about how to do it. But I would go to one of the 20-something thousand islands in the Stockholm archipelago, because a lot of them are uninhabited. So I would get a little boat and just head out there, find a little island, and that's mine.
Okay.
Like one that has no roads, nothing. You have to get there by boat, and then I just eat fish because it's on the ocean.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good idea for the people. There's one thing that I would refute as far as going to the Sami people go. If you even if you go north, we're talking about a dead body. Dead body doesn't feel cold, so presumably they'd keep walking.
So snow is hard
and
to
though
get
it is
through.
true that our animalistic intention is to live together, one could say that of a zombies would not be. That of a zombies would be to go where there's food. Meaning that yes, you might be safe for a little while. I just don't see that lasting. However, you're still out in the open, and you know, as much as I don't know, it's a forested area might be good, but I think there's always going to be wanderers. There's always going to be zombies around. I think.
But a straggler is easier to kill off than a full herd, like a full horde of like zombies, for example. Like it's easier to kill a single or
can
maybe.
Can you imagine, like the like you guys can see this, the people at home not, but like the top of my finger is a city. If a zombie apocalypse starts happening, they won't follow one direction. They'd flurry out, and you're talking about an entire piece of a population that would head your way. So
yeah,
question
absolutely.
is,
and how many other people think the exact same thing and jump in their car in the early days and started going north? Plus, to get as far north as you're talking, it's like 1,000 kilometers. So that's a long way to get by foot.
That is a long way.
Especially if it was
absolutely.
winter here, like you're not going to make it.
No, but it's like I'm talking about strategically, slowly trying to move up. Like I wouldn't make that.
Just take a boat. Honestly, take a boat, find one that if there's any left that have any sort of fuel, and try to navigate.
I think Alex's solution is fairly well, though I don't know how living that secluded could end up being a good idea, since you have no way to return to the mainland once your gas is up. So I do see problems in both of. But then again, you know, it's a zombie apocalypse. There's not going to be one single way that's good. There's always going to be leaks, and you'll probably find solutions to your problems.
The best.
No, not suicide, you jerk. All right. So, how well would you rate Alex on his idea to live on the island? Like, knowing the problems of the gas with his boat, which clearly he didn't think about.
Oh, but I can row.
Yeah, like the islands are not that like super
they're
dispersed.
doable far?
Yeah.
Okay. And are these waters deep enough so zombies?
Yeah.
Presumably they don't walk through water; they just float.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're not. It wasn't Moses or whatever that parted the seas. I assume it's
okay.
They're not. There's not like there's a Moses zombie just fucking parts the seas so the horde can get to me.
All right. So how well would we rate Alex on that answer? I'd say a solid 7. I'd give him a solid 7 for that. Yeah, it's not bad.
But I don't know, you have to include that he has to go through this city, which will be the most densely populated place.
We have the Lake Mallory that goes to the ocean about a 1 kilometer walk from our house. I just have to get there and take a little canoe and just fucking
that's true. Sorry, I didn't think about that.
Then I'm already on the water. I see, I've thought about this.
Okay.
Jesus.
Well, maybe give him an 8 then.
All right, well, let's give him an 8. I can live with that. Ali, I'd go for 6 or 7 for you. What do you think, Alex?
I would say 6, only because it's a great plan, assuming no one else really thought of it. But I'm pretty sure most people, the first thing, because like northern Sweden is the least populated part, so they're going to go, cold, least populated. I'm going to go north as well. Yeah. So then you're going to have all these stragglers on the way, and it's such a long distance to travel that.
True. And,
especially knowing you're probably going to be
You'd have an endless supply of food for zombies to follow as well. Like, because, you know, you're not the first one to get out of there. You're not going to be the last one to get out of there. You know, the zombies are going to go where the food goes. And if the food goes all the way north, then zombies would probably end up at north as well. So, yeah, I can agree with 6. All right. So, you've established a place to live. Alex, I assume you wouldn't do too much to defend your island, or would you?
I mean, no. I would kind of want it to look from the outside, like no one was there. And maybe like go more central. I mean, it wouldn't be a big island anyway. Most of them are quite small, but like I try to make like cut down a few trees in the middle and make like a little shelter of some description to actually, you know, sleep in. Okay. But then from the outside, I think it'd be a good idea to keep it looking pretty like, oh, no one's here.
Okay, yeah. By the way, to get back to locations, if you're living in a densely populated city, just as me and Alex, a good place to go to would be your standard factory. For the simple reason, most factories are already blocked off by gates, so you can enclose yourself pretty well. If there's zombies that walk in, because nobody's gonna think about going to his job when the zombie apocalypse happens, these factories are probably pretty much abandoned. Most factories have some form of resource. If you take a food factory or whatever, you can use that. The other benefits of taking a factory to your advantage is that they're usually not surrounded by too many houses. Instead, they're usually surrounded by water, because any solid factory uses water to supply anything and all things. There's a lot of, I don't know what you call it, but there's like pathways for boats in Belgium. Yeah, if they want to resupply grains and canal system. So a good idea would be to go there and to close off the gates and try to make a stand there. There's a lot of opportunity to get away if need be. So if you're living in a densely populated area and don't want to run too far, a factory could be a good location for you to stay at. Now, as far as intermediate plans go, so you wouldn't ward off, you'd just make yourself be as much unseen as possible, I guess.
I think that would be a better way. Otherwise somehow I'd have to fortify an entire island. I mean, I maybe would have like a hut in the middle with some like basic fence or some shit, but I think same thing, like if I had, let's say like a canoe or even what are they called? A kayak or something, you know, like in my self-powered one, like I wouldn't leave it like on the shore. I would like take it up and like stash it away. So if any other people came even, they don't bring attention to me.
But as far as because this is all assuming that you catch fish. How well would you rate yourself, in all honesty, as being able to survive in that situation long term?
I mean, long term,
You're completely like you're in solitude,
chance.
buddy. Like you chose solitude.
I'm going to say it's a 50-50 chance.
All right.
Genuinely.
Okay.
Because here, thankfully, in the summer, there's also a lot of berries and stuff growing naturally, so you get that in the summer.
How much do you know about berries to know which one are poisonous? And
they literally have blueberries and strawberries. So
okay.
Then it's literally like, oh yeah,
we have other berries too.
There are, but like those ones are like everywhere here, so they're so obvious. They're like, I know what.
Yeah, but he brought up. I'm gonna live off of fish, but like.
Which is funny because he doesn't eat it. He hates it.
Yeah, but I mean, if I had to,
yeah,
but
I would if you need to, you're gonna do that. But the thing is, I didn't hear him talking about packing his fishing rod, which he doesn't have. So how is he gonna catch the fish? Is he gonna put his dick in the water and hope that a fish nibbles on it or something?
Reeds. You make reeds, make like little nets, because normally in water and shallows there's like reeds that you pull them out and you like dry them out and strand them together.
Better catching crayfish, in that sense, though. Crayfish are easier to access, but you have to make the cages specifically. You have to know how one looks to be able to make one. And that's assuming
this is why you take the armless and legless woman with you in your backpack, Alex.
I can use her as bait.
Amazing.
Dangle little stumps in the water. All right. So, assuming you know a little bit about surviving, I could say your intermediate plans would pretty much hold up. You're still pretty much solid, but the one thing I think you're underestimating is being alone, buddy.
Yeah.
I think you're underestimating that. Like, in the long run, being alone could drive a man crazy because we're so used to having people around us that... So I'm going to give your intermediate plans a 5. Because, like, I think long-term I think you'd end up killing yourself, actually. I think there's
that would be my first plan anyway. Just fuck it. I don't give a shit.
But that's the thing. It's like, for me, like, obviously, like, you didn't put it in, I maybe didn't explain or say, or I assume differently. I would try to help out my family and try to get them out too. But then at the same time, that's also a risk.
Yeah.
But yeah,
do you think you'd have that instinct to do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
I am very dependent on...
It would be me telling her, like, they're dead weight, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, no, we gotta save them. Like, no, let's fucking go. Every man for themselves.
I'm very much that type of person. I would try to help everyone around me.
Okay.
Especially like people that I care about.
That you do realize that slims your odds of survival.
Absolutely, but that's the thing. It's like technically, like, I know that it's easier to try to get away by yourself. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I can't deny that in my head that would be my first instinct to get what I have at home, try to get away to my family, and from there start moving up. Like,
and
up
a lot
north.
of people would. I don't blame you. A lot of people would do that. I dispute the fact that it would probably be a bad choice.
Can I just quickly ask, obviously, like, what about you? Like, because you have family and kids, and obviously it's
I would take care of my closest family. As far as my mother and brother goes, they're fucked.
Yeah.
I know that's hard, but that's the way I look at it. Like, you're dealing with like, I'm not saying like 2 or 3 months down the line, and I've settled down and I've got a location that I know is safe for my family, that I wouldn't go out and see if they're not alive. But my priorities would lie with my immediate group.
Yeah, but
like
you'd probably attempt to send a message anyway. Like, when it first happened, like, meet me at location X.
Yes, that would probably try and call and tell them to stay. Like, my mom is in a wheelchair. I'd probably tell her to lock her doors and not move, and that I'm coming for her. Whether that be a week or 2 weeks, I couldn't say. I try to get there. But other than that, I know my brothers, like both my brothers are young, so they'd be able to fend for themselves. I'd probably tell them where I plan on going. So if they want to come, they could, come there. They both live pretty far.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think my first reaction would be to go get them. I think my first reaction would be to let them know where I would be heading, and that would be it. And as far as my mom goes, I'd tell her to stay put and hope that I find a time, or I can seclude a place quickly enough for myself so I can go get her.
Makes sense.
So yeah, I would go for family, but not first.
Yeah, but I was just mostly thinking, like, let's say, let's put this scenario that you can't secure your house.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do, like, what is your instinct, like, what would your expectations of surviving having to travel with children in that sense? Like, it sounds horrible, but, like...
Cut off their limbs, put them in a backpack.
I wouldn't.
Then they can't run away.
That's why my first instinct is to go to the location to survive long term. Set that up so it's intermediate. And then when it's intermediate, when it got it to the point where it's safe enough for them to stay for a while and to survive for a couple of weeks without me being there, then I would go out and see who else could be rescued.
Okay.
If I do not find my parents, whoever I run across at home, I would bring them with me to start a sort of pack, and from there on out, because, like, it's odd to say, but I would look at people as a form of survival. Because, for example, I would try and close off gates into a funnel, so that if there's a horde that passes along the factory where I'm staying at, I could funnel them in and chop them off with a couple of guys one by one. So what I would do is bunch up a bunch of cars together or on top of each other and shit like that.
Yeah.
So, I'd see people as a sort of means to an end, I guess, to help out building a safe environment for my family and friends that I have close by. And so, that's probably what I would do first, I guess. And try and sneak in as many people as I possibly can.
Okay.
Is that good enough for you?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. All right. There was a long-term plan question, but we're not gonna do that because that's gonna take up too much time. I'm gonna ask you guys one more question. So you have your own little, like, alley. You're living with a Sami. Alex,
I never said that. Alex said that. I'm just gonna live in the fucking forest.
All right.
So
you're at this point, you got more bush on your bush than any woman should have. There's just squirrels and nuts in there at this point. Yeah. You're on your island alone there, Alex, just enjoying that fish that you caught with what was it again? Straw?
Yeah, you make like out of little reeds, how they used to in the old days.
Yeah. You're catching your little fish with reeds. All of a sudden, a group of strangers is nearby. They want to be where you are. How do you handle that situation? I mean, this by the way, this is long term. You've set your location up to your own needs. It's fully indulged in whatever you need. You've survived for let's say a year and a half now. You've survived.
Yeah.
And suddenly, group of 5 guys pop up on your location. They want in. They see what you got is good for the long term, so they want in. How do you handle that?
I'll just leave.
You would leave?
Yeah, because, like, if it's a group with 5 guys, the chances of me getting murdered, raped, and all the fucking other horrible things is up there. So why Because obviously my plan is to try to live off nature, if you put it like that. Like, there's plenty out there, and obviously it would put me at risk still having to move locations. But at the same time, like, I know at the end of the day, people are more horrible than something that is mindless trying to kill me. Because people know what they can do to hurt someone. But, like, that's at least my first instinct, if you put it like that.
Okay.
Honestly, I would just let them come, because I look at it, there's two options, there's two outcomes. Either they turn out to be reasonably upstanding people, and now after a year and a half of no interaction, I have someone else to live with, people to help out around the place, whatever. I would still say there's no obligation for me to feed them. I'd be like, still, everyone, you catch your own fish or kill your own squirrels you want to eat or whatever the fuck you want to do, get your own berries. Or if they become assholes and they want to kill me, well, I mean, I've been living by myself on a fucking island for a year and a half. Like, honestly, doesn't matter that at that point if I die. Like, I'm literally just alive doing nothing than trying to survive. So it's like, either they kill me or we survive together. Now I have some company and aren't as batshit insane. So I would just be like, whatever. Like, but you're yourself. You set up your own house. You fucking get your own food. You're not eating my food.
They're there to take it away from you.
Well, they're not really there. They just want in.
Yeah, exactly. They just want in, and I'd be like, I would present it to them like that. Like, this is my town. This is the rules. You want to come? Cool. And whatever. If they decide to betray me and kill me, well, honestly, like, 18 months into living by yourself on a fucking island with no interaction, is that really living anyway? So death probably isn't that bad either.
All right. Well, that's fairly...
It's a morbid way of looking at it, but it's probably how I definitely would.
All right. All right. Well, I'd say, Alejandra, I'd give you a good solid 8. Because at this point you've already survived long term on your own. You've lived a year and a half. It did take it some time to set up, but I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to set it up again in a different location a little bit further down the line. So yeah, I'd go with a good solid 8. And as far as you go, Alex, like, I gave you a 7 because basically, I don't see a reason why you wouldn't invite these people in, but it is true. You do, like, if you go about it that way, if you go like, this is my island, and if you come here, blah blah blah, there would be a big chance of them being a little bit pissed off. So I gave you a 7 for that one. So yeah, out of the 50 years you'd be able to survive, I guess, Alex, you'd end up with 28 years survivable of the 50. And Alejandra,
that takes me to 56 years.
Yeah.
That's long enough.
I give you a good 34 years. So you'd
I give it 34 minutes.
Well, like, there were some downsides, like your first steps in the zombie apocalypse would determine how well you probably survive, and you've both failed a little bit at that. But that's okay. Like, that's
everything is circumstantial. Like, it depends completely on what the situation is, which is really hard to predict. But fair enough.
We also forgot that we have literally a nuclear bunker underneath in our building.
I would not fucking go in there.
But that's where everyone else would have gone.
I would not go in there because there's no way to getting out except for one entrance.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's in the cellar. It's down. Like,
yeah.
See, now you're getting it. Now you're fucking
in the attic, upstairs, where everyone's lockers are. And we can break in and steal their good shit to trade later on if we find humans to get out of bad situations.
But you have no running water up there.
Whatever, you barricade the 8th floor as well, and then we just go in, take the water when we need it, like a little bit risky, and then we go up and hide upstairs. Whatever.
See, now you're thinking. Now that's that. I like to hear that. Now you're thinking about possibilities. All right. Well, so that was it. That was all you needed to know. A little bit of pointers for people out there. Guns are good, but I'd only use them against people, not zombies.
Stupid. I don't get it. Like, in every zombie show I see, when they use guns, it just pisses me off. Especially, like, there's one zombie walking towards them. It's like they shoot them like 4 times, and it's just like, you could have literally just put yourself a little bit more at risk, walked up to it and killed it. Like, you don't make any noise.
If it's one,
you don't waste
straggler,
bullets.
Exactly.
And it doesn't apply much to, say, a country like, so for example, like Australia or Sweden, where guns are not common. Like,
not
where
accessible.
the fuck are you getting your ammunition? Where are you even getting this weapon from?
Exactly.
It's fine in the US, but you can go to Walmart. But
debatably, there are criminals enough out there with guns.
For sure.
You could kill off one of them with your machete. You could also hurt their head with your pipe.
Fucking beat the fuck out of them.
You can like knock a fucker out if you need to. But
I mean, if you got hit in the head with a steel pipe, I'm pretty sure you're not shooting anyone.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I mean, guns are not the best option because one, ammo, two, very loud and attract other zombies. So
and they can jam, and you have to clean them and upkeep them, and it's just something to go wrong at the wrong time where you really needed that gun.
Another noteworthy weapon would be a spear to keep zombies at a distance. That way you create the distance. Double-bladed spear. You keep the distance between you and the zombie, and, but not great if there's more than one. So whatever weapon you choose, always keep a knife in handy. That's the best thing I can say for as far as weapon goes. Another thing never to use are flamethrowers, because if you light up a zombie, it's fucking dead. It'll keep on walking. It's just like fucking spiders. You got people burning spiders. Don't burn spiders. They have exoskeletons. They don't die of fire. Well, they do, but first they run around a little bit. So not the best idea. Never light a zombie on fire, because basically you'll have a walking torch, which does not benefit anybody except cold people.
Yeah.
So that was the end of that. That's how you survive, or basically how you start to survive your zombie apocalypse if it ever happens. If it does happen, then be sure to subscribe to our Patreon.
We need money to rebuild the new world,
Patreon. Ooh, if there's people out there listening that do makeup, why don't you show us your best zombie makeup face stuff shit, just SFX. Just do makeup, people.
Yes, do makeup.
Yeah, show us your best zombie face. Let us see what you can do with them skills.
Show us your weapons.
All right. Is there anything else we need to talk about?
Not guns. I want to see if you have like machetes, katanas, samurai swords, nunchucks.
Oh, you want to see weapons?
Yeah. Send them through. Like, what would you use to survive the apocalypse? Oh, you can send guns too, but like we said, they're dumb.
But that's highly illegal to do, so don't do that.
Do what?
Well, it depends.
Weapons.
If they have the permit for it, they can send it. I mean,
send it. Just
tag us in all your shit. Show us your best zombie makeup. Show us your zombie survival kit. Show us Ali some love after that stump comments she's received today.
I've been enjoying those comments since he had that dream. What, fucking
6 months
ago?
Ish. And every time she like stumbles, I threaten to cut off her legs.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. And on that loving marriage note, I'm gonna head on out.
Find us on Twitter at I think it's @_randompod.
Yeah. And on Instagram, it's @random.podcast.
Yes.
Okay, I was down there for a second.
Yep.
All right. I've been Andy. That's been Alex and Alejandra. We wish you all a lovely day. Enjoy the rest of your day and have a good week. Show us some love.
Go kill some undead motherfuckers.
And try to survive as long as possible.
Yep.
Just eat them berries.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.